People becoming valuable in this AI era are not people who know everything. They are people who know how to learn. Welcome to Learning AI Together, a place where we use AI tools to learn digital skills, solve problems, build projects, and grow together step by step. If you have ever been confused or unsure where to start, you are in the right place. Here, we believe even 30 minutes of focused learning every day can completely change your future. So, if that sounds like your kind of journey, subscribe and let's get right into the video. We're still on learning video editing series. The last video, we learned how to produce videos. The previous videos, we learned how to generate images. This is so that we can have footages to work with. So if you did not watch the last video or you want to catch up with us, you can go back to understand how we got the footages that we are about to use. So let's dive in. We're going to be using DaVinci Resolve, and when we are done with DaVinci Resolve, we'll go to CapCut, because CapCut most times is very easy for those that use phone and those that are content creators. But we'll finish with DaVinci Resolve. My Google AI Studio and my ChatGPT is open. And you know the reason. We have already learned how to use ChatGPT to navigate our way through when we are learning any tool. We also learned how to use Google AI Studio to share our screen and ask the AI to tell us what to click. If you did not participate in those classes, all the videos are on this channel, so you can go back to the one and start watching the videos one after the other. So this is DaVinci Resolve, and this is the first screen when you open DaVinci Resolve. So I'm just going to go through a few of this. If you see this local, you can see libraries here, and you can see network cloud. We are not going to use everything that we see here. For instance, we won't use this one, we won't use this one, but I'm just going to explain what is going on here. Now this is a library, right? This library has files that I've been working on, so here is where you add a library. And one of the reasons it is good to add a library is if, for instance, you want to be video editing virtual assistant at the end of the day, or you're a social media manager and you have a lot of clients that you're working with, it is good that you add libraries. For example, client A can be Mr. Mike. You can add a library here and label it Mr. Mike. So let me explain everything about library. If I click on add project library, right, and I click on Mr. Mike, for instance, and I type Mr. Mike, for instance, Mr. Mike will open there, and everything, and it's asking me where to save it. I'll just save it anywhere. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So this is Mr. Mike, right? Now this Mr. Mike, these are all the projects. When we begin to work on projects, you see that Mr. Mike project, everything will be here. Then if you have Mr. Uche, let me open this project, for instance, and I say Mr. Mike, let's say, let me just use any word per se, right? Let me say TTT and create. It will open up a project and I'll work on it and save. Then by the time I go back to home, TTT is here, right? If I open another library for another person, let's say Mr. Uche. So now we have Mr. Mike and we have Mr. Uche. Mr. Uche, I have not done any project for Mr. Uche. Then Mr. Mike, I have done a project called TTT for Mr. Mike. So if you notice, if I open Mr. Mike library, I'll see only what I did for Mr. Mike. If I open Mr. Uche library, I'll see only what I did for Mr. Uche. So imagine I have a client and the client say, please let me see what you have done so far. And I open my DaVinci. I don't bother to think about anything because I know that every one of them have their different libraries. I'll just click on the library and show Mr. Mike his library. Mr. Mike does not know what I am doing for Mr. Uche. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Number one, adding to libraries help you organize. Then adding to library say make the is a way of securing your client's job, not exposing it to other people. I know some of you that are in this learning AI together journey, learning every 30 minutes every day, we eventually become video editors. So this is going to help you a lot. We have started a learning video editing series, and 30 minutes every day we're going to learn it until we cover the basics. That's that about the art project library. Now we're going to go to this export. Means if for instance you want to work on the project, where is Mr. Mike? Let's say you clicked on, let's say you finish working on TT and somehow you need to move it to a different laptop to work. What you simply do is export the project. When you export the project and you save, you can use the file in another laptop with ease. Then import is, for instance, you have a file that you worked on in another system, or a file that somebody sent to you and say, this is the raw, I have the footages in a drive, I'm sending you the drive. You can import the work and continue from where the person stopped with this import. Can you see the import? Sure, you can see that. So new project is new project entirely, like you have not started working on anything and this is a new project. So you just click on new project, name your file and begin to work. Close this. If I close this now, everything here will close. Then here is it, this determines how you view what is here. So I can decide to, it is presently on this one, so I can decide to use list view and it will be like this. It will be like this. I can decide to go back to thumbnail view and it will be like this. So everything here doesn't really matter. It depends on how you want to view it. That's when you use it. Then this information, if you click on that information, everything, a few things about your project will open up here for you to see. Then here is how to set, for instance, you have lots of projects. Here is where you arrange them according to, you can arrange them according to name, you can arrange them according to date modified, like the date, the last day you open the file and stuff like that. So you can arrange them according to format, according to frame rate. So this is just a way of arranging your files for viewing. Then here you can zoom in to, maybe you want the icons to look bigger or smaller. That is what you do with this one. Then in this place you can add a folder. All right, you can add a folder and begin to put your projects inside. Then here, I think that's all for that. If I decide to add a folder now and say don't mind me, I'm just trying to see how to use anything so we can be faster. That's why I'm using TTT and HHH. So you can create a folder and put all your projects in one folder. Okay, unable to perform move operation as selected contains load project. This is, that's this one. Anytime you click on it, it will load a project, right? And you name the project, it becomes another project here, right? If you click on this thing, for example, you understand, it's just a load project where you click on and start working. The new file you're working on becomes another file here. So that is a default property. You cannot really move it or remove it. So let's just leave it and cancel. So we are done with this front page and we are going to move straight into the project. Click on new project so that we can start. And this project, I'm going to delete this folder because I think I don't need it. Let me just remove it from here so that we can start on a neutral note. Okay, so this is the load project, and I don't think this information is a bit, I don't want to see it, so I just click here to remove it. So let me say first class, first learning video learning AI together, vid1. So I just create this, and this is our project. So what we do in learning AI together channel is to use AI to learn digital skills, learn everything that we want to learn. It's just a way to help ourselves. Those of us that maybe you have learned digital skills, or you've learned something somewhere, you paid to learn, and somehow you started working, and the people that taught you, the window has passed, you can't really start asking questions again. You didn't join their community, or you just bought a course and you understudied the course. Here is important for you. This is where you should be, so that you learn how to navigate your way through with AI. Now I can just simply screenshot this and tell ChatGPT to explain it for me, but I'm not going to do that. I'll explain what I can explain to us first. Then where we know that we are not able to push through, we can now ask ChatGPT, or what I don't know, we'll ask ChatGPT. Like I said, nobody is the ultimate here. This channel is for everyone to learn together. That's what you should understand. So don't expect that you just come and see everything. You will come and learn something in 30 minutes and go home with that. You were able to learn something. What you are learning is not exactly what I'm teaching you, but you are learning how to navigate your way through when something happens and you don't know what next. So we are practicing it here. If, for instance, I say I don't know this thing, we'll practice it. So what's the way forward? Am I going to tell you just close the video and go? No, I'm going to show you what I do when I don't know something, and that is why you are here. If I am here and I'm telling you that I will show you how to navigate your way through, this is something I have done over the years. And the reason I created this channel is because there are so many experts there that pose as experts, and by the time you finish watching their video, you're even more confused. But here, I'll teach you how to unravel your confusion. So this is the right place to be. If you are here to subscribe to this channel, this is a very opportunity, and it is now. Subscribe now, because what you are learning here is not a tool, or it's not a skill. You are learning how to figure your way out in any situation. That's the main thing you are learning here. So subscribe. Tell your family members and friends that you think we also need this. They should subscribe to this channel, and always, come back, click on the notification bell. When we post videos like this, watch them. So now we are on learning video editing series. If that is what is interesting to you, make sure you watch every video that we put on this channel, so that you not miss out on any of the details, because the details are very important at this time. Let's continue. So here we have DaVinci Resolve, right? DaVinci Resolve. Here we have file, we have edit, everything on this place. This is the menu bar, right? So everything here is useful. Is useful, and some of the things that are inside all these things are already in the body of this window that we are using. So now I'm just going to explain them little by little. File is where you have your new project, open recent project, new timeline, close current timeline, and all that. These are things that you can read and understand, so I'm not going to bore you with all these details. I'm just going to teach you the most important thing here, and then we'll proceed. As we use this DaVinci to carry out our editing, if we encounter any difficulty, we will go to our ChatGPT or our Google AI Studio to unravel the difficulty and continue. That is how we function here in learning AI together. So let me just go over to the most important things right here on the DaVinci. This place you see, from here like this, is our timeline, okay? And here is our media pool. Everything here changes with whatever goes on here. If I click on this, for example, this is media. If I click on it, you will see that the entire interface has changed. So the most important thing right now at this level of your learning to focus on is this place. So what does this do? When you click on this media is where you impute your media. This is where you import your media, the things that you're going to be editing. When you come here, this is where you bring them into your DaVinci Resolve. So we'll go over to the things that we want to edit and bring them in after we are done running through what everything here does. This is where you cut your video clips according to how you want them before you start editing. And this is editing, but most times we don't pay attention to this cut, because why should you be cutting first when you know in edit you will still cut and do some other things? So just go straight to your edit and start cutting your videos. You understand when we go right into practical editing one video or the other, but just take note of what we have here. Take your biro, your pen and your notebook and start writing. The first one, media, is where you bring in your clips that you want to work on. The second one, edit, this is where you cut your videos. And the second one, sorry, cut, this is where you cut your videos, but you, like I said, you don't need that, because the editing has both cutting, every other thing that you want to do that concerns your editing. Here, this is Fusion, where you add this is Fusion where you add effects to your video. For example, you want the clip to do one or two things. This is where you add your effects. I'm not only talking to new people. There are other people that must have used Premiere Pro before now. So if you have used Premiere Pro, what After Effects does, you get it in Fusion. And one thing with DaVinci is that the Premiere Pro, for example, in Premiere Pro, that's where you edit, do a lot of things. After Effects, that's where you put effects. Audition, that's where you work on your audio. All of them are separate. But in DaVinci Resolve, in Adobe, sorry, all of them are separate. But in DaVinci Resolve, they are not separate. They are all inside this place. And one thing with DaVinci is that even the free version can take you to an extent. You'll be able to do a lot of basic editing even with the free version. So here you have where you color grade and all that. You color grade your footages. We'll get to that and understand what it means to color grade a footage. Then here is this is, I'm sure you can see this icon very well, that's like music. This is where you work on your audio. If for instance I am talking now and the background has a lot of noise, this is where I work on the audio, remove the noise, do a lot of things, use all these effects and work on my audio. Then you see this icon, this is where you export. The icon is labeled deliver, and this deliver is what you use to export your videos. Alright, so I'm done explaining all these particular features. These are the main features that you need to pay attention to as a learner in using DaVinci Resolve. Now let's go to the first place, which is media, and bring in our video clips that we want to work on. So the last time, in our last video, we generated some videos that we're going to use in this particular episode. So we'll just go back to our folder and bring them in. Now there are different methods of bringing in your clips. This place you see no clips. You can just go to your folder and drag your footages like this. You highlight all of them and bring them in like this and drag and drop. But one thing that happens when you do this is, if you are working on a lot of footages that have different angles, this cannot work. You cannot just drag all of them and drop them here. You will need to create what they call bins, and those bins are called folders. Like these things we are learning, we're not going to rush, so I'm sure I'm going to end the lecture here. When I finish explaining all these things, then we'll make use of them in our next video. So let me explain very well. There's what they call folder. Folder is like bin, like is bin that is a folder when you are in video editing. If I right click on this place and I said new bin, you'll notice that it will create a folder here. I can decide to title the folder with the angle of the camera. For example, if it was close, because no matter how you're generating videos in in what they call it, using AI and all that to even generate your videos. When you generate videos, you can decide to generate the videos according to the different angles. I can decide to generate the same video with and give it another angle. Like when I have different angles, I don't know if you understand what an angle is, but if you don't understand what an angle is, you can put in the comment section for me to throw more light on it, because every video editor, you should know what is different angles when it comes to cameras. And okay, let me just explain what an angle is. I'll go over to my generation tools and click on any of these images and tell it to give me a different angle, so that as a complete video editor, whether you have camera or not, we will use AI tools to generate what we need. And that is what we do on this channel. We don't limit ourselves. We use AI tools to get what we want. So let me just go over to image generation tool. I can use ChatGPT or any other image generation tool. We've been using ChatGPT to learn, right? So let me just keep it at that and go and use Gemini to let me use Gemini. This is Gemini. I'm going to use it to demonstrate the angles of the camera. So here is it. I'll just go over to these images. Okay, look at this image. This is the image of the woman, right? So this is a wide angle. A wide angle is an angle that shows the things in the background and the subject. So I'm just going to say, give me a close shot, all right, of this, so that we can know how a close shot looks like. It's an angle. So we have close, wide, high angle, low angle. We have extreme wide. We have a lot of angles, right? So we're going to see the difference right now. If this is the only thing that we learned today in this video, we have learned a lot of things. Then maybe in another time, I'm going to generate some videos according to the angles, so that when we are editing, we can decide to choose the different angles that we want to use. Okay, now can you see this? This is a close shot of this one. This is a wide shot. See the wide shot? Wide shot shows you things that are happening in the background. Close up shows you just maybe the person like this. And close up is used for showing what the subject is doing. There is what they call extreme close, to show maybe the facial expression or different things. So now this is a close shot, right? Now if you are a cameraman or you want to be a cameraman, I'm already teaching you how to shoot. Close up, what it does, wide, what it does, what it is, and all that. So pay attention to every single class that we have here. Write down certain things, because they may be very useful to you at the end of the day. So we can also go back to this and say they should give us a wide shot. So we can bring that video, the audio, sorry, we can bring the picture back and say give us a extreme wide. I don't need them extreme wide, so I'm just going to say give me high angle shots of this, right? And another thing you can do, you can tell ChatGPT to write prompts for you for the different angles. But why I wouldn't do that is sometimes, the prompts may not give me exactly what I want. It may change something in the image, but when I use the image itself, it will not change anything. Okay, so this is high angle shots of this. So I can decide that as I'm generating the videos, when she's saying something, I'm choosing this one, and when she's saying another thing, I'm choosing the close shots. When she's saying another thing, I'm choosing the wide. So I'm sure we've understood what angles are, and let's go back to our video editing tool. This is the reason you have to create bins. You can say close shots for this bin. Let's rename it. You can say close shots, right? And then you can say create another bin and say wide, meaning I'll put all the videos that are wide like this. Okay, let me just move all these ones to the bin. There. Are you seeing it? So this keeps this place very clear and puts the wide shots inside here, then the close shots inside here, and the different angles you can just lay them like that. And when you do that, you have a very neat environment that you're working with. But if you don't do this, everything will mix up in this place, and for you to choose what to lay in any place, it becomes difficult. So we're going to end the class here. In our next video, we'll explain more ways you can actually bring in your footages into this page. And what you do for yourself now is get a note, start paying attention to these video editing classes. You're going to be learning all the basics about DaVinci Resolve to be able to produce at least a correct video from DaVinci Resolve before we move to CapCut. So see you in our next class. If you are yet to subscribe, now is the time to do that so that you will not miss out of the next video. Also, this is more or less starting to learn DaVinci Resolve. If you have a friend or family member that is interested in learning video editing, now is the time for you to share this video to them, and also let them know that they should subscribe so that they will not miss out of the next episode. Do have a wonderful day. See you in our next class.